Hello, everybody. Let me get my light turned on. God, that's twice in a row I've forgotten to turn the light on. I've been watching all kinds of videos today about how to make Cajun food, specifically shrimp Creole and jambalaya and gumbo, and just trying to make sure I have everything straight there as far as my preps. So I was just in one of those commercials where it's difficult to get out to get over here, but that's the way it is. Wow. So a couple of things you need to be aware of. Number one, there was a volcano eruption in Jasper National Park, which is just west of Edmonton in British Columbia and northwest of Calgary. And evidently it's got a humongous forest fire. They're evacuating the city of Jasper in British Columbia. So be aware of that. Number two, the Biscuit Basin in Yellowstone has a geyser, and that geyser erupted a lot stronger than normal to the point to where it has destroyed the boardwalk that surrounds it, where people walk around to look at it. So there is a lot of geothermal activity going along that Pacific and U.S. Continental shelf. And so, be aware of that as we go through things, and just something to be another one of those things you can add into your bucket list of things to talk about and everything else. So let me see who all's here so far. I saw Maggie in here. I think she was one of the first ones. Good evening. Good to see you. Diana too. Good evening. Good to see you as well. Shenanigans. Little Lone Prepper. Jack from Australia. Good evening. How are you? Let me see. Who else? Anybody else? Nope. That looks like it's... Oh, no. A couple new ones. JRC Homestead, Texas. Wow. I'm in Williamson County, so just north of Austin. So hope that you're close by. Maybe we can hook up at some point. R2D2, good evening. I was just on Pepper Dog's... No, not Pepper Dog. Yeah, it might be Pepper Dog. Anyhow, yeah, Pepper Dog from Georgia. I was just on his channel, and we were talking about things, and I gave the quote from the 1951 film, The Day the Earth Stood Still, Klaatu Barada Nikto. And Nikto, I wonder, that's Nikto. That's a transliteration of the Russian word Nikoto, which is nobody in Russian. So I'm wondering how many foreign languages we've got involved in a lot of our movies. Utah Mike, good evening. Good to see you. Holly Ivans, KP Heathen. That's quite all right, JRC. That's quite all right. You can lurk all you want to. Thank you for letting us know you're here. Hitting the thumbs up button would be greatly appreciated. Shenanigans. Okay, let me see. Sue me. So you know what's going on in British Columbia, I hope. They had a volcano erupt, and they've got massive fires around Jasper National Park. Jasper is being evacuated. That's just west of Edmonton and northwest of Calgary. So that's part of your country. Butch Graves, and that looks like it's it. Okay. I can't believe it. I have been affiliated with Thrive Life now since 2009 is when I became a distributor with Thrive Life. The last 3 months, they have announced the monthly sale items before the start of the month. So I was really impressed because, back, 3 months ago, they did it like the day before, and then they went 2 days before. We got today the announcement for all the items that are going to be on sale for the month of August. And I am so excited. So let me do a present here. And so there's two things I've been focusing on right now. And one of them, of course, is let me see if I can find it here. I know I have it on here. Up here. How to make shrimp Creole? No. How to make $100,000 on YouTube? No. FEMA. There we go. Okay. So here's the and what really excites me about this is that there's a lot of components for both shrimp Creole as well as for the Mexican food, chili verde con papas. And so, a lot of Mad Chick Acres, good evening. Good to see you. Tucked by V, good evening. Good to see you too. So we've got some really good items on sale. So of course, I've already got my order in. It'll be shipped on the 4th. I have it in a standing order. Chopped onions, fantastic for almost anything and everything you want to do. Those are 40% off for August. Fuji apples, 40% off. Pulled pork, 30% off. Now, so the question that I had to ask a friend who is Cajun is, we aren't going to have sausage and andouille sausage or anything like that for, jambalaya, for gumbo. Can I use pulled pork? And he said, sure. You just have to use a little bit extra Cajun or Creole seasoning to make up for the fact that you don't have the sausage taste. But he would recommend that I use some bacon grease to start off the whole process so that you get that taste in there. And that combined with the Cajun or Creole seasoning, combined with the either pulled pork or shredded beef would work fantastic. So pulled pork is on sale, and that's 30% off in the month of August. Tomato dices, I try to get 2 cans every month. So that's on sale for the month of August, and that's going to be 30% off as well. Let me get up here. Where am I? Here it is. And so let me get up here. I'll show you where I am. Then we've got green chili peppers, of course, which go with the chili verde. And let me tell you good news about chili verde. It just so happens I was talking to a fantastic Mexican cook today, and I said, I have a problem in post-SHTF, and I can't find them. I finally found them. We went to 3 different places over the weekend looking for tomatillos, and so which are basically green tomatoes. And we found 2 cans of tomatillos in a total of 3 stores. I said, they're just hard to find. I can find salsa verde and I can find green enchilada sauce. Can I substitute either of those for the tomatillos if I want to make something like chili verde con papas? And she said, sure. A little bit of salsa verde along with the green enchilada sauce. You've got a fantastic green sauce for chili verde. So I am so happy that has happened. But anyhow, along with that, you throw in a little bit of this green peppers, and that's going to make it really good. Of course, the onions are part of it as well. Scrambled eggs, man, they gotten expensive. They're 35% off in August. So a large can is going to be just under $100. I can remember when I was complaining that they were $45 for a number 10 can. Sour cream powder is going to be 30% off. Pineapple is 25% off. I've added a can of pineapple to my order as well. Espanol, which is the beef gravy sauce. It's a French fancy word for beef gravy. But let me tell you, that beef gravy, if you're doing German food, like if you have a schnitzel or something like that, you take the Espanol, a little bit of the freeze-dried onions, a little bit of freeze-dried mushrooms, and mix all that together, and you have a fantastic Jaeger sauce or Hunter's sauce, which is the famous mushroom sauce that the Germans use. So that's on sale, 25% off for August. And then instant milk is on sale for 50% off. So that's one of the better tasting. I gave you a list. There's a video about a year ago. We did taste testing of about 6 or 7 different brands of instant milk and our powdered milk. And so that's one of the ones. All kinds of great recipes this month. And if you need those, I can also put those out. I can put that out to you. But just some fantastic stuff going on with Thrive Life for this month. So that's it. We'll talk about that. I just wanted to share that with you, that we got that in. Now we can focus on the lesson for tonight, which is going to be about defending your home. So let me see. Mad Chick Acres, and I said hi to Holly Ivans, Mother Earth Garden Club. Good evening. Grateful every day. Thank you for being here. Oh no! When I see it, I'm sorry that I've missed you. I try to get everybody. I don't exclude anybody on purpose. Um, so just accept my apologies. I try to catch everybody. I don't intentionally leave anybody out. Tammy Harder, good evening. Good to see you as well. Storms, Radios, and Cats. Utah Mike. Joanna, that's a fairly new name. It's a beautiful name too. Maggie, Storms, Radios, and Cats. Okay, so let's get into this fantastic book. So when we're talking tonight about home security and self-defense, we're not going to talk about pew-pews and stuff like that, as you would imagine. It's not in this portion of his book. Although, that's got to be that's going to be in the next one, which is chapter 11, where we're going to talk about self-defense. But when we're talking about home security and self-defense, that's a totally different subject. We're talking about how do you make your house more defensible. One of the first things that he talks about is location, location, location. And so he has 8 predictions about what's going to happen to your home in a post-apocalyptic world. Number 1, there will be far more home invasions. The worse the economy gets and everything, the more crime we can expect. Home invasions and kidnappings are likely high growth areas. Number 2, use of dynamic entry tools by home invaders. We can expect them to use commercial or improvised door entry battering rams and Halligan tools like those used by police. This means that the standard solid core doors by themselves will be insufficient. So you're going to have to reinforce those doors, against the heavier battering rams that are going to be used to get into your place. Kaylin, good evening. Welcome. Yes, it is good in Sauerbraten because Sauerbraten is basically using the Jägerswasser. So possible vehicle-mounted battering rams. We have a tree directly in front of our front door, so that's going to be pretty good. Now, I always tell you, everything in life, I don't care what it is, there's advantages and disadvantages. So the advantage to having a tree out in front of the front door of my house is they can't use any kind of a vehicular battering ram. The disadvantage is it's a fantastic cover for anybody who wants to come in and attack the house using a firearm. So, which one you want. I'll give you my solution to that firearm here in just a second. Larger, better equipped, and better organized home invasion gangs. The potential use of cell phone jammers. I don't think that's going to be applicable, but I think we're going to have cell phone usage anyway. And even if we did have cell phones, who would respond? I think these are going to be so bad that nobody would respond anyway. More elaborate ruses as pretext to get homeowners to open their doors. For example, and I think this one's kind of far-fetched, posing as UPS delivery, and they might even have a UPS truck outside. Maybe pre-SHTF, but I'm not sure that would be applicable post-SHTF. I'm not so sure after SHTF I'm going to be expecting any deliveries from FedEx or UPS. More use of pepper spray and other irritants by home invaders. I think that's something that we overlook, is they probably don't want to burn your home down to get to you because they want the valuable items that you have inside. So how do they force you to evacuate your home so that they can get in and take what you have? Well, if there's an air entry point, like an air conditioner duct or any other kinds of air, where air is going to be brought into the house, that would be a fantastic place for them to put some sort of an irritant into the air that's going into the house, so that then that causes you to want to evacuate the house so that you aren't more disturbed by that irritant. So that's a very good point that, I think we really need to take into consideration. How are you going to defend yourself inside your home if they are using something like pepper spray into your air system? And then use of large diversions such as explosives to draw law enforcement away from the scene. Yeah. Okay. That doesn't excite me. That's not something I would really be that concerned about. Let me see. Sumisat has steel doors, but they have windows, and he talks about that here in just a minute. Germans have a fantastic solution to the windows. Every house that I built, I wanted to put them in, but I just couldn't afford it because it would be usually in the vicinity of a $15,000 to $20,000 add-on to a house. But I'll show you. I'll describe something for you. Germans learned from several wars. So Utah Mike says, yeah, it's the door jams that fail, and that's quite true. So one of the things you can do is your standard jam, replace the screws and nails that have it mounted into the frame, and replace those with longer bolts and longer nails. So that's one possible solution there. Kaylin says that after disasters, you'll find nutheads posing as repair contractors. Oh, absolutely. There are some gypsies who go around doing that quite regularly. And one of their things is they really pose as roof repair. And then they want a down payment. And then after you pay them down payment, they never show up and you never see them again. So yeah, Kaylin goes on to say the same thing. Tucked by V, years ago, someone sprayed pepper spray into the AC system of a shopping mall, and it was a bad day for shoppers. Absolutely. It's not good. That's why you want to have some good protective mask, face masks for things like that. Laura Mannion, good evening. Welcome. When I replaced some windows, I put in tilt and turn windows after seeing them in Germany. Absolutely. But there's another one. It's called Rouladen. Well, might as well talk about it now. In Germany, we have Venetian blinds here in the States, and in Germany, they have what they call Rouladen. So the Rouladen, it's an interior, it looks like a commercial garage door, those rolled up garage door things that come down that you can bring down. And so what it is they got a series of steel plates that are V-shaped, upside down V-shaped, that land on top of each other. So you can bring them up, and when you bring them up, there's a gap in between the two. And so there's the cord goes in the middle of these, so you can get a gap between them, and that basically lets light in, but it's still a steel bar, keeping people from coming in. You can let them all the way down, and it becomes a blackout curtain. But it's also a very solid steel plate now that they can't get through. Or you can pull them all the way up. And when you pull them all the way up, they roll up into this rolling thing up on top of your window. And then they're totally out of the way and you have a totally open window. So they're called Rolladen, R-O-L-L-A-D. I want to say E-N, R-O-L-L-A-D-E-N. You can look those up. But they're very, very expensive here in the States. And it's pretty standard overseas, especially in Germany. Let me see. Shenanigans says that as an electrical contractor, please do not pay anyone up front for work. We never ask until we are done with the job. Good rule of thumb and a good way to protect yourself against a lot of these sharks during times of disasters. Yeah. So the Rouladen are the same thing you see at the pharmacy counter. Exactly. Thank you. Good point. Because of all the hurricanes and everything, I'm quite certain that they have a lot of those in Florida. They just don't have them here in Texas that much. So Sumi says that they were just talking about that, I guess up in Canada. Yes, you get an insurance break because they are basically tamper-proof. You can't break into a house if you have them engaged. And so it just makes your house a lot more secure. They also protect your windows. So they're mounted exterior to your glass window so that there isn't any breakage. And I think that's fantastic as well. Oh my gosh, Muskoka Oma, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope things are going well. And I hope you got good information. Yeah, so Tuck by V is agreeing with Maggie that they were quite popular in southern Florida. Let me see. I imagine they'd be very good, even in areas where you have tornadoes, because they're going to help against that overpressure from the wind coming in. So the ultimate solution is designing for security from the ground up. So design your home as a potential place where you need to have security established. Um, so one of the things that he points out, and Maggie, Aussie Life here, and I have had several conversations about that. As a matter of fact, she even sent me a pair. But don't use contractor trash bags to try to be your blackout curtains. Okay, they aren't thick enough. They will let light through them. They're very easily ripped, and that stuff can come off. But it can give away your light discipline. Get at Walmart, they aren't that expensive. On Amazon, they aren't that expensive. Get some heavy duty blackout curtains and make them at least a foot in every direction larger than the opening you're trying to secure. Once you've done that on a very dark night, go outside, turn all your lights on the inside of the house, go outside and test it to make sure that you've got all your light security taken care of so nobody can see that you're inside. So that's just a great thing to do. We're going to primarily be in these three rooms, because I'm in the dining room now, kitchen, living room. So that's going to be our primary area where we're going to have light at night. So I've got four windows and one door that I have to have covered with blackout curtains. So I've got that all taken care of. Got all the mounting and everything else. So that's one of our plans. What we have to worry about is now we've got this little bitty peephole in the front door. I figured the light wouldn't be there, but it is. So I need to make sure I get that covered as well. But that's, pretty good. Yeah, Maggie says that since the roll-out is installed on the outside of the home, that they protect against glass breakage, which is fantastic. It saves a lot of money. One of the other things that he talks about is consider getting infrared floodlights to light the exterior of your house so that you can see things, especially things that are moving in a nighttime scenario, without emitting too much light from your house to attract people miles away towards your place, because you have electricity. Okay. The gate. So one of the things that he talks about is having a fence and gate around your home if possible. And the gate should have a spiked top to discourage gate jumpers. There are other solutions you can do as well. You can take nails, and so you take your nail, right, and you bend it. And then after you bend it, you take another nail and bend it, and then you put the two together and you have a tetrahedron. Cut off the round part and sharpen that. And then those become basically flanchions that you can throw on the ground and put around your home in a post-apocalyptic world, so that when people step on them, it penetrates their boot and kind of hurts their foot. That's illegal to do before SHTF. I want to give you that. And don't try that before. Only do it afterwards when there's nobody around to assist you. But you can make those, and that's very, very simple. Another one that they did in Vietnam, that the Vietnamese would do, is they would take a 2x4. Actually, it was about a 1x4, and then they would drive nails up through it and then lay that on the ground with the nails protruding up, and that became another step upon barrier that penetrated our boots very easily. Oh, Mother Earth Garden News. Tell us, I want to know how that went, because I know you had to leave us last night. Your daughter fell off a 10-foot ladder and was being rushed to the emergency room and had a possible concussion. So I hope it's not serious, and that she is going to be, that we are going to see things improving in a very, very short manner of time. Okay, so impact, and you can also get impact film. So there is a special film that you can get that's adhesive on one side. You put it on your windows, and that's going to assist against any shattering. It won't keep them from breaking, but it will keep them from shattering, so that you won't have glass coming inside the house or anything like that. Oh, wow, Laura, that's a great question. We had a big skylight in our home, our last home, the big home when we sold to move down here. And as a matter of fact, we were on vacation, my wife and I were, and my daughter was at home, and we had a hailstorm. Softball-sized hail went through that storm window and right over our kitchen, and kind of, we had a lot of insurance claims against the kitchen because of that, but it scared the living daylights out of her. But yeah, that's interesting. I don't know the answer to that, because this had a channel that went up probably 12 feet. We had 12-foot ceilings in our house, and then we probably had another 12 feet up to the apex of the roof where the skylight was on the exterior. So I imagine we would have to take and cover that entire opening down below, but that doesn't do anything to protect you against the breakage and entering from that up top. I don't have a solution for that. I hope somebody in chat can share a recommendation on what we can do with that. Okay, so Mother Earth says that her daughter is still in the hospital, has severe vertigo, can't walk or sit up, has a severe concussion. She fell off a ladder, landed on her head on concrete. Oh my gosh, we'll pray for her. At some point, all we need is her first name, if you would, so I can add her to my prayer list. I would greatly, greatly appreciate that. And if you choose not to, that's okay. I think the person I'll be asking for assistance knows who Mother Earth's daughter is. Okay. Are you saying hail guards, like protecting against the frozen water, the hail, or is hail guard something else? Christine, let me write that down. You have to forgive me. My memory as I get older and older is not that great. I have been helping people. I'm a member of St. Vincent de Paul. And so today I worked on 7 cases today. And I sent an email to a lady and I sent I called her by the wrong name. Oh my gosh. How embarrassing. And my partner says, Lee, you've been working too hard. You're calling people the wrong names. So I'm making sure, I'm double downing on making sure I get people. My dad told me the single most important thing in life is people's names. Make sure you call them by the right name. And I blew that today. I just, gosh, unbelievable. Okay, so he says, put spikes on top of your gates so you can keep people from jumping over. Of course, you can use that Vietnamese nail and board trick. You can make the tetrahedrons that you're going to throw on the ground, sharpen those. One of the things he recommends is having thorny bushes. Rose bushes are fantastic, but any kind of thorny bush underneath any window that you have, so that they have to go through the thorns of those bushes to get into the window or get access to the window. Thank you for that shenanigans. Gosh, I love the way you guys are so helpful to each other, so supportive. That just means the world to me personally, and thank you so much for that. Okay, so hailstorms. So there are hail guards that you can order, and so Butch Graves is saying that would be something you could use to secure your skylight from an intruder. Okay, so thank you for that, Butch. Appreciate that. Prickly pear cactus borders, and those are rampant here where I am. Prickly pear grows like you would not believe, and a lot of other. We're right in that transition zone. I think on this side of I-35 we don't have as many prickly pear as they do on the west side, and we're in that transition. We're going from the fertile, kind of fertile land east of here. As a matter of fact, Granger Lake now covers what used to be, up until the time they turned it into a lake, what used to be one of the most fertile cotton patches in the U.S. So the land over there is really fertile. We're in that transition. We're transitioning to desert starting about I-35. Boards with nails under the windows, on the window sills. And yeah, that's what we're talking about, the Vietnamese thing. Yep, absolutely. Peracantha bushes have great long thorns, and they're oh wow, that's a good one. Thank you for that. I'm going to write that one down too. Is it pyracantha or peracantha? That's okay. My garden supply guy, Mark, he knows I mispronounce things, so he will take it easy on me. Yes, and we, as a matter of fact, growing up in El Paso, we ate prickly pear quite a bit. You can also ferment it into tequila. So yeah, you've got, one of the things you just have to do is the red blossom. You got to make sure that you pull the skin off of that, and that has some really small, fine nettles in it. You've got the bigger, thicker nettles on the actual prickly pear leaf, but you can cut those off, and then you can fry that, and that's pretty good. It has a distinctive taste, but it is pretty good, I have to say. Thorny blackberries. No, we don't talk about blackberries on this channel because I can't grow them. I've got this third year in a row I plant them and they die. They should grow. They should grow. I mean, they grow for everybody but me. I don't understand it. Holly bushes and thorny and berries. Yes, great. I did not know that you all had prickly pear native in Florida. Wow. I guess we all have that, huh? Yeah, blackberries. I am determined. I will grow blackberries at some time. I've tried blackberries, blueberries, raspberries, strawberries. I have no problem with. Strawberries I can grow like you would not believe. I have to give them away. But it's just the blackberries, blueberries, and raspberries I just cannot get to grow. I don't know why. So he talks about another thing is any access roads should have a MURS frequency Dakota alert or similar wireless IR beam motion detector. So MURS is another one of those radios. So that's a multiple use radio station. And MURS, and that's another one of those that's going to be, communications, and it's usually digital communications. So that kind of comes from what we use with the WOGs, or UGS. So that's UAGS, unattended ground sensors. So we developed this technology back in Vietnam, and you take these ground sensors and you drop them from an airplane, and they actually look like bushes if you drop them into the foliage, and then it would measure any kind of vibration on the Earth's surface. And that vibration, if you knew the pattern of your WOGs when you dropped them, you could tell the time distance between any two. And then if you had them in a star shape or in a cross, then you could also determine the direction that they were going. So you could determine direction and speed of people as they encountered those different WOGs and set them off. You could do the same thing with MURS-based, what he calls Dakota alerts. Lastly, thorny bushes. Okay, so somebody mentioned it earlier, and I have a demonstration here for you, and that is you can take tent pegs and oh, wow. Now, there's a fantastic, and I forget the name of the company. I'll get it for you for Monday night. I have a company, and they have these bamboo trays, and then they have a little thin layer of mesh, and you keep water in it, and that's how I grow my green onions. So you can just nip off the green part of the green onions, and then it grows back. But I probably have about 24 green onions in the bedroom where the sunlight can hit them, and that's how I grow my green onions. So yeah, I haven't yet been successful with regular onions, and I think it's because I plant them too late and it gets too hot for them. But like I said, last night, growing a garden, being a good gardener takes years of experience, and by the time you learn what you've done, it's time to pass on. Get tent pegs. come up with a pattern out in your yard. Okay. I would say probably only half your yard, the one that's closest to your home, unless you want to do it further out. But once they encounter it, they're going to think that it's everywhere. So you just have to do a very thin area. Once you get those tent pegs driven into the ground, get the kinds that have eyelets in them so that you can take fishing line and run it from one tent peg to the other. Now, before you attach it to the next tent peg, what you want to do is you can do one of two things. You can either get these fishing bells, okay, and they also have a light. So when this is to go on the end of a fishing rod, so that when a fish pulls on it, okay, it does two things. You have a visual cue that that's the fishing rod that has a fish on it because the light goes off. You also have the noise of the bells telling you that, hey, there's a fish on your line. So you can set those and hook those up to your fishing line so that as somebody not only trips over your fishing line, now notice this is 50 pound, okay? So it's a very, very heavy fishing line. So not only as they trip over your line are they going to scream, cuss, make all kinds of noise and everything else, but they're going to set off either that or they're going to the noise, the light, and all that kinds of stuff. Another one you can do, and you can get these at Tractor Supply or at any kind of a farm supply company. These are cowbells. I got the smallest ones that there is. This is a cowbell 8LD, but it's the smallest one that they have. So I can put those at different points on my lawn. Just beware, animals that wander into your yard are going to set these off as well. Now, another option, let me do a present here, and it shows screen, and I want to show my Amazon, because I have it all set up in Amazon to show you. Amazon triple arms, there we go. So you can also get triple arms, okay? So basically, this triple arm right here is you put a 12 gauge shotgun, what do they call, blank in here, and you can order the blanks from them as well. And so that when you pull on this little pin here, it's a spring action. So you've got this part up top that's spring loaded, and it's held in place by that cotter pin. When they trip on the wire, they're going to pull that cotter pin out so that your safety is now, and it's going to go down, strike your 12 gauge blank, and you've got a 12 gauge shell going off basically in your yard that lets you know that with that explosion, somebody's in your yard messing around. Now, if you would like to do something, the disadvantage, remember everything has advantages and disadvantages. The disadvantage to using fishing line is that it is clear and it can reflect light like a full moon or something like that. So if you want to go with camouflage tripwire that's made specifically for the purpose that we're talking about, you can also get that on Amazon, and that's directly below this one. You've got the tripwire there. So that's another option. That's a very good option. Just do me a favor. Don't set it up pre-SHTF, and whatever you do, don't set it up with live 12 gauge rounds pre-SHTF, because you would be responsible for any damage or injuries that you do to another human being. Okay, so we can stop sharing that. I think you got the idea of that. Let me catch up here. I've heard the Freedom BlackBerry. Okay, gosh, you guys are giving me all kinds of notes to take tonight. Freedom BlackBerry. I will definitely check into that. Thank you, Tammy. Year 4 coming up. I will try almost anything to get blackberries to grow in the backyard. And, it could be, I need to talk to Mark, because it could be that I've got them against the fence where they get full sunlight for about 12 hours during the heat of the summer. So that may be too much sunlight for them. I may have to change. I've done everything else. What I may have to do is change where I'm planting them so that they get more sun, more shade. I don't know. I'm also very, very interested, and I think I told you this last night, in growing an olive tree. And then I've got my bucket of lemon and lime trees. So I'm trying to become a gardener, a farmer. Not having good success, but I am trying. So Little Lone Prepper has, let me see, Oregon grape. All right. Beautiful plant. Jack says to plant pumpkin seeds in areas that are never used. You'll not know what to do with all the pumpkin. Oh, wow. So I've got an area over here that is in constant shade, and would they grow in constant shade? We'll have to check into that. Let me see. The tent pegs, stakes that match the color of the ground. At nighttime, as long as it's not a reflective color, I don't think it's going to matter that much. So you probably don't want to have, because you do want them protruding up above the ground. The idea is to have your wire about 6 to 8 inches above the ground. So you're not going to drive that stake all the way in. So, the Army orange ones and the silver ones you get from REI, those probably won't do that well. You probably want to have something that's green or black or something like that is not going to reflect any moonlight or anything else in the middle of the night. So yeah, I would say, and they have to be fairly long because you want them to protrude up above the ground because you want them to be high enough where somebody's going to get their toes under them as they're walking. Yeah, you can use primers. Absolutely. Let me see here. I'm trying to read and do this as we go along. Okay, most wild berries grow along tree lines. Yeah, so I think that's probably what I'm doing, Mad Chick. I think that I'm probably giving them too much sun. They need to be in more shade. Wow. Now I've heard about feral dogs, and as a matter of fact, PJ, Pastor Joe, Viking Preparedness, just did a video here a couple days ago where feral dogs attacked his goats, and so he had to go out and protect his goats against the feral dogs, and there were about 6 of them, and he had to end up shooting them to protect his goats. And so he came up with, it was a very interesting story that he had about how you have to be prepared and be loaded at the door, ready to go. That the old Minuteman, defend your home is also true against defending your home against not only human predators but also against natural predators. And so, he was talking about what he had to do to protect his goats, and he lost a couple of them. Oh, make me jealous, Mother Earth. I mean, I can't grow raspberries either. And that's one of Helen really loves raspberries and she really loves blueberries. And so I wanted to grow both of those. Both of those need very alkaline soil. And so I got, stuff to I pH tested my soil and everything else. And I don't know what I did wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm trying too hard. Maybe I need to just kind of, we'll see. Maybe Mark can help me. I'll ask him all these tough questions. I thought about going a state over and get some loud fireworks, ones that stay on the ground, maybe. And so the question would become one, I guess, if you're going to use them for a trip flare or something like that, how are you going to ignite them? And so that would be my question about that. So you're going to need something similar to that trip explosive device that I showed you on Amazon, something that's going to ignite those. Oh, wow. Thank you, Sumi. Well, my ground is slightly acidic. I can guarantee you that. They get more than 6 to 8 hours of full sun each day. Not good drainage because underneath my topsoil is nothing but rock. I haven't even thought about elderberries, Sue. Let me check on that. I'm getting a full card here this evening. There are tiny ones now called snaps. They used to be called cigarette loads All you do is smack it on a hard. Oh yeah, I remember those. We called them poppers because you just threw it down on the ground and it popped. But and I guess what you could do, we used to make this kind of a trigger thing that would cause, and we used it with back in the old days. We had the aluminum cowboy guns with a roll of what we call those. Anyhow, a little bitty thing of gunpowder that the hammer would hit it and it would explode and pop. And I think they were called snaps, but you could use those as well. But along with that little thing you make out of the old clamped style clothes hanger. Yeah. Okay, let's see where we are in here and how much more we have to go. Where are we in time? Oh, 45 minutes. Okay. So he talks about, we did that. Talks about chain link fences and making sure you have those installed. And the good thing about a chain link fence is it is a barrier against entry, but it is not cover for you so that you, or for them, so you can still see them and still defend yourself against anybody who's trying to get through. Whereas if you had something like a solid wood fence, they can hide behind that. So you've got concealment. I'm not sure. So the difference is cover protects you from fire. Concealment protects you from observation. So when they say cover and concealment, they're saying you can't see them, you can't shoot them. Okay. So the fence offers nothing. It offers no cover. It offers no concealment, the chain link fence, whereas a wooden fence would offer concealment. Maybe some question as to how much cap guns. Thank you, Mother Earth. And Kaylin. But I'm not sure it wouldn't be that much as far as cover because most rounds would probably go through the wood. Caps are now banned in Australia. I haven't seen them here in the U.S. in a long time. Yeah, society has changed, hasn't it? That's a very good point, Kaylin, is that chain link fences are so common, everybody has them, that you don't even think about it as being a barrier that's erected strictly for SHTF. You think of it as just being a natural thing. Then he talks about entrances on the highway. He likes having a Caterpillar dozer and parking it perpendicular to the road, so with the blade down, so that especially a tracked one, so that they can't drive in, and it takes another Caterpillar to move a Caterpillar. I don't think most of us have the money to invest in Caterpillars to block vehicular access into our areas. But he does say if you can't do that, then the next best thing is a vehicle, a car or a pickup or something like that. So, make sure you block off any road access into your area. And then prowling and lighting. And he talks about both pre and post TEOTWAWKI motion activated floodlights. Even though I could run them because the motion sensor will be there, the lights will be there. I will have electric power with my solar system. I'm going to turn those off probably for a while immediately after SHTF. I don't want to attract people to me during that first month or so. And I think that it would do more attracting than it would defending. Next thing he says is you want to make sure you have some either rock or brick masonry homes or some other sort of masonry. Even stucco, I would say, is better than a lot of the wood shingles and things like that. He talks about the best book that he's read as far as home defense is Joel Skousen's book, The Secure Home, and he strongly recommends that. And then he talks about hiding places in your home for precious metals, cash, things of that nature. My favorite one is basically creating a gap. Especially if you have 2x6 construction instead of the 2x4 construction, behind your drywall, cut a hole, put your stuff inside there, and then a fake plate as far as a 110 plug or a light switch or something like that, so that's your access point, is that what looks to be a 110 plug, but it's actually, you just take off those 2 screws and you've got access to where you're hiding your stuff. I love that one. That's a great one. You can also online, on Amazon, I know for sure. I've seen Pennzoil, Barbasol shaving cream, several different kinds of, and these are cans, okay, but they have a screw top. So it looks just like the product that you would normally have either in your bathroom, as far as a sanitation item, or in your garage, oil, things like that. But the screw lid, so you can put your precious commodities down inside there and just hide them in plain sight, because that's going to be something right there in plain sight. Solar motion sensor lights, absolutely. I don't want those active during the first couple weeks, maybe even the first couple months after it happens. Actually, that's kind of a good thing. Those pointy wires are going to be one of those barriers that keep people from climbing it. So that's a great question, Utah Mike, and I don't know the right answer to it. So I think people are aware of the fact that you can get solar, and solar helps you reduce your overall electric bill. Okay. However, it's no good during a grid down situation unless you have battery backup. So that's the reason I intentionally had my battery bank installed inside my house instead of outside. So my next door neighbor does not have battery backup. They just have the solar system exactly like mine. And so you can't tell the difference between their house and my house. They don't have electricity during grid down. I do. Now, the next point is, it just so happens that my house, where they put all of my panels, faces to the next door neighbor's house, whereas their panels face towards the street. So you really have to look. You have to be coming from the wrong direction. Basically, this is a cul-de-sac. You have to come from the end of the cul-de-sac towards my house in order to see my solar array. And if you look at it from the main street, you don't even see the solar array. So I think that's one of the things that they did haphazardly, but I'm very happy with, was where they put the solar array so that it's not necessarily visible from the street. So then he talks about OPSEC and keeping everything low profile. He talks about once you lose your anonymity, you can't get it back. And you're going to have to take all kinds of countermeasures. So then he talks about making sure that you get with your neighbors and have a good neighborhood watch program. And that kind of completes that chapter. So we've got 8 minutes left. Let me see what we've got here. So let me get up here. What do we got here? Come on. Okay. So Jack says that raised beds, huge pot plants, and great invisible types of HESCO barrier. Absolutely. And if you take a look, Jack, if you watch any of his videos, he has, for lack of a better term, he has growing pots, but they're actually tires. And so what he's done is he created these raised bed platforms out of tires. And so a tire laying in the street filled with sand, that's going to be a fantastic barrier. And then they also talk in the book about sandbags. So you can get sandbags fairly, I think it's $45 for 100 of them at Tractor Supply or at Walmart. You can special order them on Amazon. But then you have to worry about where you're going to get the sand or dirt, whatever, to fill them. So that dirt is probably going to be more difficult to get here in our part of Texas than will be the bags. The other thing I don't like about sandbags is, in order to create that barrier, now I am providing both cover and concealment for the bad guys approaching my house, because I can't see what's on the other side of the sandbags. And certainly a sandbag is difficult to shoot through. So I don't want to do that. So he talks about sandbags. I don't have that much faith in sandbags. I like Jack's thing of having the tires, and that's a fantastic barrier, especially for vehicles. So I like that. Huh. Great way to put them, Kaylin. Stash containers. Thank you. They during normal times, I'm going to agree with you and say yes. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5 motion activated lights around the house. One each corner, and then one in the center in the front. That at the door. So I should have done it that way to start with. 4 corners plus 1 is 5. We have 5 motion sensor lights. We don't have them really well adjusted because we had a rainstorm yesterday. There was a beautiful yellow lab that was running around looking for a secure place, and it came up onto our porch to get dry and stay out of the rain, and it kept setting off the alarms and the lights and everything else. So, and then my Chihuahuas inside, they're going to be the death of us during SHTF, because once the alarms go off for the motion detectors, they howl and bark, and oh my God, here I am trying to play dead, and they're going to tell everybody in the world. You can probably hear them a half mile away. It's Chihuahuas barking, right? But they let everybody know that they're inside. Don't come inside. Of course, what they don't realize is that high-pitched yip is not going to deter anybody from coming inside. You have a distinct advantage where you are, Jack, being out. I think we might have maybe 1 or 2 rural viewers, but I believe the majority of the people who view us are either in suburbia or in urban U.S. In apartments. So let me see here. Oh, I forgot the good news. I talked with John Grammer today, and so let me see if I got a response email back from him. All right. So, okay. So John Grammer's new book, I told you he sent me an autographed copy. I showed you that last night. And he and I were talking. When he appears on the show, the last Thursday in August, we're going to basically raffle off, and he's going to give an autographed set of 2. He's only got 2 volumes so far, but he's going to give away volume 1 and volume 2 autographed, and he was going to mail those to me. I said, John, don't mail them, just keep those, and then we'll hold the drawing on the night you're on the channel, and then we'll just ship them directly from you to them. And that way we don't keep the U.S. government in business with all of our shipping costs. We'll just ship them once. So he says, yes, I did get it and sent you an email along. Oh no, that's me responding to him. And then he says, sounds good. He will also have Audible codes available so that we can raffle off, or not raffle off, but just we're going to have a giveaway basically, and we're going to give away a couple Audible codes so that you can watch you can listen to the books if you prefer that over reading. I don't like Audible. I'll listen to them in a car if I have to, especially on long trips. I prefer where I can use my favorite tools of the trade, my highlighter and my tabs, and then I also have to take notes, on every book that I read, and so that's just my habit, and so I prefer that. So I prefer having the actual bound book. But anyhow, he is going to be here the last Thursday when we do his book 2, and then he is going to give away an autographed set of his books, as well as the codes for somebody to listen to his 2 books. So that is phenomenal. Thank you, Mr. Grammer. We appreciate you. Can't tell you how much we appreciate you. Laura Mason says that her portable solar panels pick up enough sun from inside the house in front of this upstairs window, and they aren't visible. That's fantastic. I would say get a couple more panels then. You never can have enough. For example, right now we've got, let me check mine right now, my enlightenment, my in phase. So we've got a week of solid rain, whereas typically on a typical day, let me go back here before the rain started. So on Saturday, July 20th, I produced 45.1 kilowatt hours. I consumed 37.2 kilowatt hours. So I exported 7.5, and I kept my batteries at 100%. So then, so Sunday, we produced 19.8, used 34.7. So we would have exhausted about a third of our battery bank. Monday, we produced 20.25, consumed 28.66. So we're down 8.83. We probably would have used another 1/4 of our battery bank. And then today, we produced 12.43 and have consumed 30.06. So you can see that as you get into a rainy period, that you're not going to be recharging your battery quite as much. You're going to have less production. So you're going to have to reduce your overall consumption. I mean, you'll still have some. So you're going to have to basically prioritize where are you going to put that. And our priority will be to our freezer and to our 3 refrigerators. So we've got, the freezer and then 2 refrigerator freezers and then another refrigerator just strictly for drinks. So that's going to be our priority. If we have a week of rain like we're having now, they're now saying that this rain that we're experiencing is probably going to last through Sunday. So, that means we're going to have overcast skies and not that much solar production. So when I was at Detachment Wobeck, we were looking over into, so you can look up Detachment Wobeck and you see our fantastic Tory Tower, which was our intercept antenna looking into East Germany, into the Third Shock Army of the Soviets. And so we had a sister British unit right up the road at Langerleben. And they put in a request to the German government, because we were in a national forest for Germany. And they put in a request to the German government to put in a swimming pool. And the German government denied it and said, no, you can't have a swimming pool because that's a national forest. They said, okay. So then they waited a while and they put in another request. And they wanted to put in a 55,000 gallon above ground water storage tank to support their firefighting efforts. And the German government approved it. So they just happened to do their 55,000 gallon above ground water storage unit as a swimming pool. Okay, so I think we're pretty much done. Don't know what we're going to do Monday night yet. I'm definitely open to ideas and would love to have your suggestions. Even interviewing somebody very interesting, I think would be fantastic. So we'll come up with something there. I do have a couple shorts I'm going to be doing here in the very near future. And then I'm going to try to fill up the rest of the week with shorts. And then next Tuesday night, we're going to do chapter 11. And chapter 11, I believe, is pew-pews. Pew-pews for self-sufficiency and self-defense. So that's what we'll be talking about next week. So with that, let's get here to see if there's any. Kaylin's going to be at the lake, hoping for a catch. Gosh, I'm jealous. I haven't gone fishing since my grandson moved to New Jersey. Gosh, we got to fix that. Okay. Book of Numbers, chapter 6, verses 24, 25, 26. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord let his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord look upon you kindly and give you peace. Or as we used to say in Latin, dona nobis pacem, grant us peace. So thank you all for being such a wonderful support. North Carolina farmer, good evening. Good to see you. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for being so helpful to each other. Mother Earth, our prayers are with your daughter. We certainly hope that that things go well for her and that she shows vast improvement on a daily basis. Um, I know that that can be very, very stressful to everyone who is close to her. So we pray for you as well. So remember, everybody, that we're all in this together, so we can come out the other side together. Please be kind, polite, and respectful to each other. Don't call names. None of that sarcastic terrorism, where you are trying to embitter people towards a person to the point to where they take pot shots at them. We don't want any of that. That we need to be better with each other than that, because the only way we're going to get through this is if we are supportive of each other. Take care, everybody. See you Monday evening. Please have a safe week. Bye-bye. All these things came in. I can't get to the end stream. There it is. Okay. Bye-bye, everybody. Take care.